Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of James Bond Bitcoin Live 0081. Hashtag Sai Yuki. If you don't know what that means, that's Japanese. Anyways, if you can tell by my meme here, it's another monkey theme. So, anyways, let me go over the notes real quick in the notes section. Down below, you'll find some information. So in the note section, I have clarification on the upcoming Segwit2x Fork on the Coinbase blog. Now, today, they actually came up with a blog stating one thing, and then now they have another blog about the same thing, but slightly little different, more of a clarification. So I'll get to that later. Also in the note section is upcoming Bitcoin hard fork modified exchange operations. And that's from Gemini. Let's see, what else do we have here? Also in the notes section is I don't have Bitcoin in Coinomi at the time of the snapshot. How do I claim BTG? Another, this is coming from Coinomi, and this is a support update now that the snapshot for your Bitcoin Gold is done. So I'll get into that a little bit later. And finally, I have a little article from CoinDesk titled Lawsky. If you don't know who Lawsky is, you might want to educate yourself a little bit. But if some of you have been here since 2013, you know who Ben Lawsky is. Lawsky, ICO fever cloud bring cryptocurrency backlash. October 4th, 2017, whatever time, by Marc Hochstein. And then also in the notes section is SegWit Charts. So we'll take a look at what happened with SegWit addresses. They, for some reason, went down, and I'll try to make best of that analysis of what happened. And then also in the notes section is monkey magic. Yes, monkey magic. The middle path and compassion. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. So when I get to the meme here, and of course here is a meme, hashtag yes2x48, a link to the meme, also a link to the pot of gold, as well as the address to the pot of gold. So you can donate to it, and hopefully we can all crack the code, or someone can crack the code and be a lucky winner. And finally, in the notes section, I have Hiroja Shibe Space Odyssey Network. I have a link to her channel. And so let's see who's in the chat. I'll do overhead camness. It's always good to see you. I saw you here a little earlier. Thanks for being here. Also, someone new, Gainsh. Sorry if I butcher your name, Gainshi Rathor. Well, welcome. Good to have you here. Well, dual overhead camness is, you want some doom porn. Well, I don't know about doom porn, but I do enjoy porn, that's for sure. Well, let's talk about the meme here. I'll go over the meme real quick. The meme here is Journey to the West. If you don't know what that is, that's obviously a story written a long time ago. It's also a movie that's also been made. Maybe you'll find it on Netflix or some other place, maybe on YouTube. Anyways, fun to watch and maybe even fun to read. The meme here is Journey to the West, hashtag yes2x. Now, this relates to my monkey magic link in the notes section. If you don't know what that's from, Sayuki is actually the Japanese for Journey to the West, which is their Chinese, how they translate through Chinese. Um, South Korea or Korea would also have the same thing pronounced a little bit differently, as well as in China, they would say it differently as well. But basically, if you want to translate it into English, it's Journey to the West. But the TV series Sayuki was translated to Monkey Magic. Monkey Magic. It's a Chinese thing, but when you get to China, Japan, and Korea, they kind of share the same common culture-ish kind of thing. Um, so my monkey theme for the week, since I've decided for this week to go with the monkey, is our little journey through our trip through Bitcoin, Journey to the West. So you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about if you watch the video. Anyways, just a meme. Have fun with it. Take a look at it. Hashtag yes2x, because we're all expecting a hard fork coming here, whether some people like it or not. So let me go on here and go on to the next thing here. Oh, that's a bright screen. Sorry for that. Let's see how long it takes to load. All right, so we have our pot of gold, the Bitcoin pot of gold. So if you donate, the QR code on the left with the arrow pointing to the pot of gold, that's the donation address. If for some reason you're not in front of your computer with a phone or smartphone or with your wallet to scan, the address is in the notes section. And if you donate, it just adds more fun to the game. And the QR code on the right is the encrypted private key for you to figure out the passcode. And you can sweep all the Bitcoins that's been in there. I've donated. Hiroja Shibe's donated. So hopefully we'll get some more people to donate. And the QR code on the bottom is a link to Yellow Fever for You, who gave me the idea. So I'm running with it. Anyways, that's a little plug-in for that. Sayuki, dual overhead camera. Sayuki is Japanese. That's their version. That's the TV series was a Japanese produced version of a TV series called Journey to the West, but originally it's Chinese, and it's people call it monkey magic, and that's the Chinese thing. So, anyways, here is the SegWit chart, and if you notice, it took a very dramatic downfall here in the percentage of transactions. I've heard it's because people were trying to get in onto the Bitcoin Gold. They're trying to consolidate all their old addresses and all the stuff, but I'm not sure how true it is, because it may be true. I'm trying to analyze it. Let me see here. I'm looking for the block. Let me see, block 407. I think it's down here. Yeah, here it is. I believe this is the block, or is very close to that block. Block number 491407 was the snapshot of the Bitcoin Gold hard fork. So there might be something to it which led up to a decrease in SegWit address being used. But I'm not too sure what SegWit addresses has to do with moving your coins around. Maybe people were moving coins into a non-SegWit address on the exchanges. As far as I know, wallets, there's still a lot of wallets that don't accept SegWit addresses. Like I noticed Coinomi doesn't, but I know Ledger and Trezor do accept addresses or have implemented SegWit addresses. But the drop-off is still concerning. And, to some degree, I'm not sure if it means anything, like if people use SegWit addresses or not, because if I look at the overall since activation, it could be like one person who's like sending or using their SegWit address to send to another SegWit address. So it's not really there it is. Okay, there's the long since since activation. So you see, it's quite a bit of drop off. So this buildup, it could be just a ploy by, I guess, SegWit advocates or SegWit trolls out there who are trying to make it seem like SegWit's being used more and more and more. Use the treasure hunt. I use the treasure hunts that I do. I send to a SegWit address. So there is some of that going on that I do, but the bulk of what I have is still in my old address. I haven't even moved them, or I don't feel a need to move them yet. I have played around with SegWit addresses, but I haven't seen a lot of wallets accept SegWit addresses. And today may not be a 10-minute form. I may go on a little bit longer because there's a lot of things I want to talk about. So I think looking at this and claiming that SegWit is being adopted, it's a little misleading because it could be just one person who's just moving their coins around to different SegWit addresses. There's no real determination. Like this could be a Sybil attack, or I guess you could say Sybil attack of just spoofing SegWit transactions on the blockchain. I mean, we don't really know, and the fact that it dropped all of a sudden, either a lot of people who are using SegWit addresses all of a sudden start sending to a non-SegWit address during that time. That could be the case. I mean, it's leveled off. It's definitely leveled off. Let me see if I take a look at a week here, just to analyze it. You can see it's leveled off, and if that's the case, then up on the exchanges, because I know the exchanges have basically locked their deposits and withdrawals. So maybe that's why you see this level off here. So maybe this is the result of the Bitcoin Gold hard fork. So if this is a Bitcoin hard fork issue, could you imagine? Could you actually imagine what happens when there's an actual Segwit2x hard fork? Like, would this even drop off further? So this is something else to watch for as the Segwit2x hard fork is coming up. So yeah, it may not be real transactions here. This could be all spoofed. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I don't have any way to prove it, but just think about it. Oh yes, here we go. Comedy Gold. I hope you all enjoy this comedy gold stuff that's going on. I don't know if you had a look at the price, but the futures were around, it peaked out at $600 for 1 Bitcoin gold. Now that things are starting to trade on these exchanges, we're actually seeing what, 100, 150. Hold on here. Let me check the. Let me go onto a coin market cap here and go coin market cap. So let's check out the coin market cap and see if anything actually comes up. All right, so we actually got a Bitcoin symbol here. Let's see what the price is. Wow, it's in a 24-hour period, it's lost 70% of its value. I wonder if any of the devs started dumping their coins so they could start getting development done on their incomplete software and put out some replay protection. The thing is, they have until October. Let me see, November 1st before I think the exchanges will start allowing you to withdraw or even deposit Bitcoin Gold onto the exchanges. So it looks like there are some front running here, maybe. I mean, what do you think? I think there might be some front running. Matter of fact, I think there's probably a really good chance that there's some front running. Really good chance. In other words, the developers of Bitcoin Gold who are pre-mine, it wouldn't surprise me they've already have some coins already that they probably made some arrangement with some exchanges that it would allow them to trade Bitcoin Gold, to have their Bitcoin Gold on these exchanges, and they're already dumping while you're all locked out or you're locked in onto these exchanges, one or the other. Just an idea. I mean, if they need money, right? And I mean, they need money. They don't need Bitcoin Gold because Bitcoin Gold's useless right now. Nowhere to cash out, nowhere to do anything. So if anything, they probably dumped it for Bitcoin maybe, or maybe just dumped it for fiat currency, and then they're going to pull the money out of these exchanges to fund their projects. It makes sense. So I think this is what you're seeing here. And also probably a lot of people have dumped their coins as well. But looking at that chart, especially right around here, I mean, look at this. Look at this weird line that just dump. So either a big whale all of a sudden dumped at $300, or let me see, dumped around at $200, or someone who already pre-mined a lot of coins dumped at that price. So much for free money, right? Anyways, so this is Comedy Gold, everyone. Comedy Gold. Okay, so let's go on to this part right here about clarification to the upcoming SegWit hard fork. So this just came out actually not too long ago. I think about an hour, maybe 2 hours ago. So let me go into the blog section and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So earlier today, what you had was this right here, where a lot of people saw that blog post, timeline and support Bitcoin Segwit2x and Bitcoin Gold, where they were talking about how they were going to have the current chain be called Bitcoin, and the new chain, the assumption that SegWit2x was going to be the new chain, they were going to call that, you know, SegWit2x. As a matter of fact, let me go on it real quick, just to show you if you haven't already seen it. So here's the original that came out, which everyone praised and were very excited about. You could almost see it in the price of Bitcoin because it started going up. You know, it started floating around 5,600, 5,500, somewhere around there. I mean, the price was kind of just hanging around that price level, the price of Bitcoin. And so as you can see here, they are talking about where the hard fork, SegWit2x hard fork, 16th. They said, as you know, a temporary result in 2 blockchains. Following the fork, Coinbase will continue referring to the current Bitcoin blockchain as Bitcoin and the forked blockchain as Bitcoin 2x BTX right here. And you can see that. And I think people were really, really surprised. I was a little surprised to hear this coming from Coinbase because they were part of the New York agreement. And from my understanding, I think Brian Armstrong really does want a new development team because he was really pushing for a larger block size. Now, I don't know if he really needs a larger block size or if there was a plan all along to have a different development team. So it gives you a little detail of how they're going to handle it. They left a little room. They did talk about Bitcoin Gold, in which they're still looking at it, but looks like they're not really taking it serious. But they did leave the door open for them to have it available for their customers if there's good enough support for it. So, but the key part here was, the big difference here was they mentioned straight on the first paragraph, this one right here, that they were going to call the forked blockchain. Make it clear right here, the forked blockchain as Bitcoin 2x or BTX. Now, so everyone, I think that's, everyone was really happy to hear that. But then we have this clarification on the upcoming SegWit2x Fork. Just released a couple hours ago. In the middle of the night. They're going to post this new blog post. And here it is. This is in our prior blog post, in the first paragraph. In our prior blog post, we indicated that at the time of the fork, the existing chain will be called the Bitcoin, and the SegWit2x fork will be called Bitcoin 2x. Okay, they even highlighted it right here. But I'll re-highlight this. However, some customers asked us to clarify what will happen after the fork. Well, it seemed pretty clear in their previous blog post what's happening, but I guess I don't know what customers they're talking. Maybe their New York cohorts who may have some Bitcoin on Coinbase as a customer asked them to clarify the situation. We are going to call the chain with the most accumulated difficulty Bitcoin. That's they flip-flopped. So if you were all happy earlier about Coinbase, well, how do you feel now? I mean, and I think this is the reason why the price of Bitcoin started to crash, because this came out a couple last 2 to 3 hours. So let me take a look at the chart of Bitcoin real quick and see if there's any correlation there. Let's go on the hourly here real quick, and coming back up a little. Well, it's coming back up a little bit, but you can see it dumped. There we go. So last 2 to 3 hours. This is an hourly. So you can see on this particular candlestick right here, it dumped. It dumped. It went from 550 and dumped down to the low of 500, or not 550, 5,500, and it went to a low of 5,366. So it's pumping back up now, but I think that's on a dead cat bounce. But you can see that this trend here go downwards. Let's go to a weekly here and see what we have. And you can see it's making a bigger red candle, lower. So we'll see in a couple more weeks if this is going to continue. It is bearish news. I don't know if it's short-term bearish news or long-term, but the charts kind of indicate to me that it's turning down on a short term. Long term, overall, it's still going up. Matter of fact, I'll draw some lines here if you need to ease your mind about where we are. Draw some lines here. There we go. Lovely lines. And so we're almost hitting the top of this channel, if you can call it a channel. It's a very steep channel. Um, if this isn't a top, or it's not hitting the top of the channel, I don't know what is. Maybe up to 7,000, maybe 7,500. You're looking at the top of that channel. I can't. Sorry, this is not Trading View. I can't zoom in and move over to the left, but you could definitely see that it's very close, or hitting, or going to hit the top of this channel. So there may be one more last push up, but it doesn't always do that. When you go and look at channels, it doesn't always hit the top of the channel perfectly. So when you have such a large run up like this, it doesn't necessarily have to hit that top channel. The channel will still be there. Maybe on a later date, it'll hit up at a higher price. I'm thinking around 10,000. So, but you can see it's already overdone, in my opinion. So, anyways, let me cut that out there. So that was this, and this is also on GDAX, just to let you know. GDAX, same thing. So Coinbase and GDAX are the same company. So if you look at it, GDAX right here did the same thing. They have the same thing, different author. Probably did it at the same time within the last 2 or 3 hours. Clarification on the upcoming SegWit hard fork. It's the same post, word for word, just under a different name. And you can see here's the down here. That was the previous post, timeline and support Bitcoin Segwit2x and Bitcoin Gold. So you can see even GDAX has changed their stance. So anybody who was excited before and all giddy and everything, well, you got your bubble burst. All right, what's coming up next? It looks like another meme here. I wonder what it is. Oh, yes. It's the bear. So we've been in a unicorn market, or unicorn run so far. And I have to tell you that we may not be in a unicorn market that much longer. We may have one more push up before the SegWit2x hard fork, because people want to get in on it and get some free coins. It'll probably be very similar to what happened with Bitcoin Gold. But after that, I would definitely expect to ride the bear here. So if you know how to ride the bear, go with it. If you do what dual overhead camness does. Buy the dips. Anyways, the QR code on the right is actually a timer. It's a countdown for the SegWit2x hard fork. I would keep an eye on it, because the time and date may change as closer you get to the block height, to the block number. So keep track of the block number. Check on this clock very frequently, and make sure you get your coins where you want it to be in preparation for the hard fork. If you're going to be on the exchange, and make sure you do it in a timely manner, because during the time of Bitcoin Gold hard fork, there was a lot of traffic on the mempool, a lot of traffic. Matter of fact, my transactions I did over the weekend are still pending. They haven't confirmed. And of course, the QR code on the left is what you can do to that bear. You can ride that bear. Ride the bear, man. Don't be afraid. Ride it. All right, so this is another blog post. This one hasn't changed. I saw this from Gemini, and their stance on this. A lot of people gave them slack, but Gemini and Coinbase are now on the same page, and I'm going to assume that a lot of other potential exchanges, especially exchanges that signed on with the New York agreement, they're going to be on the same page. And you're potentially seeing a hijack of a brand, hijack brand of Bitcoin. So once the SegWit fork goes on, they're going to claim, now if everyone agrees, or if most of the players agree to the New York agreement, and even at 70% of the mining hashing power goes to hard fork on SegWit2x, according to Gemini, SegWit2x will become Bitcoin. So you're seeing a hijack of a brand, you're seeing a hijack of the chain. It's a question of, at this point, are they going to hijack the economy as well? Because Gemini has taken the same policy. They will follow the longest proof of work chain for the most part, the one that has the most hashing power, from what I can read. Now, there's some other people who are die-hard core followers that are going to say, well, it's a valid chain, or it's the one with the most nodes that's gonna accept which chain is the real chain. Well, they have that argument. To the end user, there's no risk for me because I'm going to get both coins. And watching what happens with Bitcoin Gold will give me a good idea of what's going to happen with SegWit2x and Bitcoin, or I should say the core chain. So you got SegWit chain and the core chain. It's going to give me a good idea because Bitcoin Gold has no replay. We'll see how that does. We'll see what happens. And they have very little hashing power, but they're going to change that. Of course, they're on a different algorithm. But with Bitcoin and SegWit2x fighting for the same hashing power, same proof of work, one chain will die. Now, is it going to be SegWit2x? Will the miners not follow through on the New York agreement? Or will they follow through? And then the core chain. Someone's going to have to, in order to survive, one of those chains to survive, or both of those chains to survive, they're going to have an equal amount of hashing power, or they're going to have to change their proof of work and do a hard fork. And most likely, while they're doing a hard fork, add a very strong replay protection. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens. How many Satoshis was on my, I had very little. It was the transactions that I did through Coinbin, which it's a sender that I have control over the amount of Satoshis I could add on to the transaction. Was, let me see, I did 18 transactions. So I grouped my transactions and it was 14 cents. So it amounted to less than 1 cent per transaction. But it was 3,000 Satoshis for 14 or 18 transactions. The other transaction I did was just, one input, two outputs. It was about 200 bytes, and that was 3 Satoshis per byte. That was about 6 cents. So that was about 600, 3 Satoshi per byte. Yeah, about 600 Satoshis. It was very low, but at the time the mempool was very high. It was like 30,000 in the mempool. So people were rushing to get to the exchanges because the time was moved up on the Bitcoin Gold hard fork. It's scheduled on the 24th at a certain time, and it ended up being a little bit earlier, a day earlier actually. So there you go. This is all in the notes section here. Let's see, what else do I have? Okay, so finally, I'm going to get to Coinomi here. So Coinomi has revised or put up an additional support here. I don't have Bitcoin in Coinomi at the time of the snapshot. How do I claim BTG or Bitcoin Gold? And this is written today, Wednesday, October. Well, the quick answer is you can't. You're not going to get it. So if it wasn't confirmed or if it wasn't on the blockchain, a lot of my transactions were basically still pending. And so I don't know if it's going to still come back in my wallet. So when I actually do the transaction that's pending is really in the previous wallet that I sent from. I'm not sure. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. You can't even split your coins now. No one can, from what I understand, because they haven't even mined any. There's no hashing power behind Bitcoin Gold right now, and so basically we have to wait until November 1st, the earliest. So only until after that time does it really matter. So Tomcat yesterday said he split his coins. I don't know how he did that because when I looked on Coinomi, there was no offer. There was no way you can add Bitcoin Gold. It's not available yet on Coinomi. So anyways, they basically said you can't get it. But what you can do is you can import your wallets. So you can import the recovery seed or the backup seed into Coinomi wallet and split it from there. So that way you don't have to worry about transactions if you already have it on an existing wallet. And they mention, what do they mention here? So Jax, they mention other competitors' name, Jax, Exodus, any wallet for the most part that has your recovery seed, your 12 word, 18, 24 word. Some have 25, whatever, X amount of word recovery seed that you have. You can import that into the Coinomi wallet. And then from there, there's no transfer because it just automatically shows up. Your seed, that is your seed. So it just, populates the wallet. And from there, you can just follow the directions. You can just, again, add Bitcoin Gold, go into advanced settings, change your derivation path to M/44H/60H/0H/0. I think that's what they put there. And then it would just split it for you. So you can do it that way. The other way after that, if you don't have your backup seed, is if you have your private key, open another wallet, open another Bitcoin Gold. You could open up many Bitcoin wallets on Coinomi. Open up a new Bitcoin Gold wallet, have a new address for it, and just simply sweep the private keys. Now, with that, you have to transfer them. When you sweep your private keys, you're transferring them from one wallet to another wallet. So be careful with that because we don't even know if there's replay protection. So it's right here. So there's the simple answer. So anyways, have fun with that. Are you talking about Hitbit? Are you talking about Hitbit getting your Bitcoin Gold? Is that the one? Or is it Bitcoin Flyer? So anyways, here's Mr. Benjamin Lawsky on the CoinDesk article here. ICO fever could bring cryptocurrency backlash. If you don't know who this guy is, he's the one that created the Bit license in New York, and then quit his job to start his own firm to consult Bitcoin companies about the Bitcoin license, probably, most likely, how they can work their way into that. So he was in a Money 2020 conference where he talked about Bitcoin and the ICOs. And pretty much my feelings on the ICOs is ICO days of anonymous ICOs where, you just literally just make a token. Those days are gone or will be gone very soon. And, you know, I would be very wary of any current ICOs that are coming out because there's a really great chance that those are all going to be exit scams. For one simple reason, because this is, if they're going to get their money, they're going to get the most amount of money. Now is the time to do it because they know they're not going to comply with regulations because they're basically selling securities. So you got two options. You're going to have ICOs that are coming out that are, all right, or you're going to have ICOs that come out that are basically charities. So you're either going to give people your money and you're going to be okay with that, or you're going to be promised that these tokens are going to be somehow related to the company or a part of the company in which the value will go up, and maybe there's some exchanges out there that will let you trade with them. So those are the two types of ICOs that are going to come out. Now, if you invest in the type where they're going to promise you that their tokens are going to be worth something at a later time, value of the company, it's probably going to be an exit scam because they're not going to they're not going to probably come through on that. And so the ICOs that you have coming out, they're either exit scams or they're charities. So I would just stay away from them completely because the days of anonymous ICOs where you could just sell to the crowd, you could be anybody selling to the crowd of people your tokens. Those days are probably going to be gone very soon. All right. So that's that here. Let's see if I have any more. No, that was it. Let me see what the final. Let's see what the SegWit price, future price is for SegWit, and then after that, I'll end this. I'll end the live stream here. Let me see here. All right, SegWit futures. Let's see what it is. Okay, it's gone down. Even SegWit futures have gone down. And then the overall market cap has gone down. Most of the altcoins have also gone down. So latest news. I'm happy that you won a lot of money. Don't forget to like and subscribe since you won a lot of money. And go get yourself a Lambo, crypto latest news. So here is the SegWit futures. You can see it's starting to trend down now. Its height was, what, 1,200 bucks? Just a little under 1,200 bucks. Now it's ranging between 1,200 and 900. We'll see how the price comes as we get closer and closer. The market overall is going down. So if SegWit futures is going to be 900. So if Bitcoin Gold was 600 at its peak, and the current price is 100 and something, 140. So that is literally 80. It's at about 80% of its value reduction. So we took this price, SegWit2x coins will be worth about $200 if we just take that same line of thinking. Matter of fact, let me figure that out. 600. I'm getting a calculator out just to make sure I do this right. 600 divided by, let's say 140, or 140 divided by 600. Wow. That's a 76. That's literally 76. So let's just say 75% decrease. Decrease. So let's see. The height of this was 1200. Okay. So basically, SegWit is going to be worth $300 uh, on the day of or the day after the hard forks on the exchanges. So we'll just go along with that assumption. I want to see what the total market cap is real quick before I leave, and then this will be my final conclusion here. My final will conclude. Yeah, getting airdrops is going to be the new ICO. The problem is it's going to take a lot of money, and I think it's going to be hard to do that because exchanges aren't going to do all this work for anybody who just hard forks, and they're not going to take your crap coin because most likely you're going to pre-mine it for a whole bunch for yourself and front run it. So I see in the future where exchanges and wallet providers, if they want your coin to be added, all right, they're gonna do this. They're gonna, well, offering the split coins is not that hard. Is not that hard. Now, whether they want to list it or have you on the wallet itself, you know, because I think Ledger was going to have a whole different website where you take your private keys and you split those coins. So they're dumping the responsibility on you, and they're not going to upgrade on their wallets. And so in the future, I think if wallet providers and exchanges, if you want them to list your coin on your wallet, on their wallet, or on their exchange, Bitcoin first or whatever payment they want up front, and not your crap coin that you're going to pre-mine after that you get listed and all that. So it may cost a lot of money to do this. So the people who are trying to fork, well, you have to pay to do this. You have to pay to fork and then airdrop all of this stuff and then hope that you're going to come out on top after you do all this work. And you may not come out on top. You may actually lose money because all the people who will have the coins will be on those exchanges and they'll dump them. If this is, this, I find this airdrop hard fork a huge distraction. So anyways, here's the market cap here. Even then, if you do an Ether Delta for free, I guess you could do an Ether Delta for free, but then again, I think they're gonna do, the wallet providers are gonna do a lot of what LedgerX is doing, is just saying, here's a site, you take your private keys and you split them yourself. We're not going to add support into our hardware wallets. I think you're going to see that in the future because there's a lot of work that's being socialized, and even for the users, it's a lot of work to even split these coins. So and the point is, let's not just have anybody just willy-nilly hard fork. If you're going to really hard fork, then you better put up your own money to do this. Pay us all first, and then whatever's left over, you get paid last. And if it's a really good project, then it will retain value. If it's a crappy like pump and dump project, well, you're going to lose money because it costs you more money to fork this coin, Ethereum or any other altcoin out there. It's going to cost you more money to fork this coin because by the time you get your money, we're going to get all our, everyone's going to get their money first because they're going to dump this coin, and then you get your money last. And so I think if people take that kind of a stance, if the community take this kind of a stance, we're not going to see any more of these hard forks. So people who want a hard fork, you better have money, whatever your cause or your belief in why you're forking the coin. If it's for the money, well, guess what? You're probably going to lose out. So, anyways, so after the news of Coinbase, the price of Bitcoin was lower and all the other altcoins were higher. After the news of Coinbase of how they're going to go forward with how they're going to label Bitcoin, which fork is going to be Bitcoin, the whole market started to tank. Most of these markets started to tank. You can see here it's all over the place, but there's definitely more red before. Maybe some of it's slightly recovered, but before it was mostly green on the alts, especially in the top 10 here. Ethereum, um, Litecoin, Dash, they were pretty well into the green. Now they're in the red here, and I think people are starting to dump their coins and trying to cash out. Anyways, let me get back to my original meme here. All right. Well, thank you everyone in the chat. I appreciate Surregency for participating in the chat. Crypto Latest News for also participating in the chat, and Dual Overhead Camness. Hopefully you guys come back and you all enjoyed my channel. Please like or dislike, leave a comment after the chat, or even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye now.